Lenten Spiritual Reflection, Part 6. The Cross, Liberation and Mercy. A question we all have to ask at some time in life. Is forgiving an honorable response when I feel the deep pain of an injustice that has been caused by a responsible person? In the face of the worst injustice towards us, the only way to freedom is through forgiveness. Otherwise, either by active aggression or passive resentment, we contribute further to the lethal cycle of violence. Without forgiveness, our lives are governed by hatred and revenge. Not to forgive is to condemn ourselves and others to captivity. We succumb to the law of revenge and we end up oppressed ourselves. Retaliation sets up a pattern even when it's a measured response. It feeds more rage and hatred into the human race. The only way out of this negative cycle is through the grace of forgiveness, which sets us free. The cross of Jesus is our liberation. It speaks of the lavish mercy of God. When the human race had no way out of its hatred and revenge, God became one of us so that we could be redeemed. On the cross, Jesus was dealt the ultimate slap in the face. He graciously turned the other cheek. He cried out, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." This heart of forgiveness has breathed life into the world, giving us new hope that we are not doomed to an eternal cycle of hatred and violence. From the rejection and murder of God's Son, God's grace abounded all the more. Jesus went down into the depths of our pain. Being one with us, He turned hatred into love, evil into goodness, slavery into freedom. He turned the worst form of human condemnation and execution into a permanent sign of the enduring, merciful, and forgiving love of God. At the beginning of His mission, Jesus announced that He had come to bring good news to the afflicted, liberty to the captives, sight to the blind, and to set the oppressed free. He lived and breathed these hopes and aspirations each and every day. He was true to this mission and purpose in His final breath. Jesus refused to be given over to anger, resentment, revenge, bitterness, or disappointment. He holds all of humanity's suffering, sin and evil with outstretched arms of compassion and unfathomable mercy. When we find it difficult to forgive, it can be helpful to imagine ourselves at the foot of the cross with the person we need to forgive. Standing together, we realize that it's only because of the mercy of God that any of us can stand at all.